Hello, friends. Welcome back to your own channel, Data Science Learning with Brain. And I hope you are excited for the part 2 of this video series, Learning Python. In part 1, we have covered quite a lot distance and you took the step in the right direction. Before we go and learning Python, I'll give you some glimpse of fast forward to the end. Here you go. Okay, so before we begin, let's see some shortcuts that we have in Python. So first shortcut we're going to see is Shift and Enter. When you hit Shift and Enter, it's gonna run that cell particularly and move to the next cell. Now, if you press Control and Enter, it's gonna run that cell and stay on the same cell. And if you hit Alt and Enter, it's gonna run that cell and it will also insert a new cell below. And Tab is a very fantastic button. If you press Tab after pressing any method, say you are doing print and you just type PRI and just press Tab, it will auto-complete that method for you or the command for you, so to say. Shift plus Tab, again, once you are in that method, you want to see what all inputs or the arguments that method will take or the command will take. When you do Shift plus Tab, it will allow you to see all the arguments which is available with that tab. Isn't that fantastic? So I think these 5 shortcuts are very, very important. You're going to use that very frequently in your exciting journey of data science. Let's begin. Let's take a quick step back and recap something from our previous part 1. So we will assign a value to a variable here. And as I say variable, that means its value can change. Right now, I'm taking variable A, and A is act as like a container. You can assume it to be like an empty box. And whatever value you want to put it, you can put it in that box. Right now, I'm assigning value literal 2 in A. So I'm saying I'm storing value 2 in A. So when I do A is equal to 2, that means I'm storing that value in A. Next, I'm doing print command, which you are aware of from our part 1. And I'm just printing within inverted comma. So that's the text I wanted to print in. So remember in our last session, whatever text you wanted to print, you have to put that into the inverted comma. Now it can be a single comma, it can be double inverted comma, it doesn't matter. But make sure you use same single inverted comma for the entire text within same print. So you cannot use on one side single comma, other side double comma. It has to be uniform. So we're saying 3 times A is nothing but 3 into A. And here 3 into A is my calculation part of it. And that's a number, right? That's output which I want here to be displayed. Hence, it's not in inverted comma. And I've separated it with a comma here. Right? So that will be my output 3 times A, and that should be 3 into 2, 6. And then I'm saying that for the comma, I want to add more text. And I'm saying that and 5 multiplied by A is nothing but 5 into A. Let's run this cell. So how you can run this cell, you can go into this particular cell and click on run button. When I do that, I'm going to get my output, which is 3 times A is nothing but 6 and 5 multiplied by A is nothing but 10, and which is correct, right? Let's move to the next step here. Now, earlier my value of A is 2 right now. So right now my value of A is 2. Now I'm changing the value of A and now I'm storing 5 in A. So what it will do, it will replace this 2. So it will delete this 2 and instead of 2, it will store value of A is equal to 5. So in that container, I have replaced the value of 2 by 5 now. Now I'm printing again. I'm saying that 5 times A is nothing but 5 into A. So asterisk is nothing but its sign of multiplication. And I'm saying that and 3 multiplied by A is 3 into A. When I execute this cell and run the cell, It's nothing but 5 times a is 25, which is correct, and 3 multiplied by a is 15, which is also correct. Now, this was a quick recap. Now, taking you to the first part is understanding different data types. Data types form a very base of your understanding in Python, and hence it is very, very important to understand these data types. You're going to deal with them every day when you open your Python. So it's essential to understand data types. So first data type, and which is very interesting data type, is a text data type. When I say text data type, is any kind of string, any kind of text which is stored, and you can define any object and you can store text in it. So I'm defining X as an object. It's like an empty container, as I said previously, and in that I'm storing hi, I am Birain. And here is an important tip for you. Whenever you store any kind of text in an object, it has to be within inverted comma, just like in the print function we have seen it. Here also, while storing as a text object, you need to store it within an inverted comma. It can be single inverted comma or double inverted comma. It doesn't matter, right? So I've stored hi, I am Birain, that's my name. I stored that string in X. Now, whenever you want to see what is the data type of this object, I can use this method called typ, that's type, and within bracket, I'm just putting X. That will give me what is the data type for the X. When I execute this cell and I hit run button, that gives me the str. str is nothing but short form of string. So the data type of X is nothing but string, which is correct. That's what we stored here, right? And it also gives me output sequence number 3, as we have seen in our previous video. Let's take the next data type, and this should be pretty intuitive and very easy to understand, which is nothing but numeric data type. Within numeric, we are calling it an integer. When we say integer, we are storing I is equal to 20. Right? And there's no decimal place, it's whole number. So we say 20, I is equal to 20, right? You can store any integer in there. And when we do type is equal to type in bracket I, it will give us the data type for I, which is integer, which is perfectly correct. Let's move to the next data type, and this is a float data type. When I say float, in some language, it's called double. It's nothing but a decimal. It's not a full number. It's like 2.1 as I'm storing here in object f. So f is equal to 2.1. When I see the data type of f, for that I do type in bracket f. When I do that and run my cell, it will give me float. So that's my data type, which is correct. Now, here is an interesting thing for Python, which I wanted to highlight you only in this video, is auto assignment of data type. When I say auto assignment of data type, is unlike C and C++, when you do division of integer by float or vice versa, it will automatically picks up your data type to the lowest possible. So here, what I mean to say that I'm storing here in object div, and div is nothing but I by f. Now remember, I is our integer and f is our float. So I'm dividing I by f. My value of I is 20 here right now, and value of f is 2.1. So I'm dividing 20 by 2.1 here. And if you do this in C or C++, it's gonna give you error. But in case of Python, it's a very smart language, and it will just convert the data type of division to float automatically. And that's what I'm doing here. When I do print, I'm saying that value of I is nothing but it's I. And here is an interesting thing. When you do \n, now \n is a command through which you are telling print that initiate a new line. I don't want to continue in the same line. So when you do \n, it's not gonna print \n, but it's taking it as an instruction to start a new line. So it ends here, your initial line, and the new line will start from value of f is f. So that will give me value of I and f. In my next line, I'm again taking a print command. I'm saying value of div is nothing but div, and I'm doing /n again, \n again, and I'm saying Data type of div is type of div, and that's gonna give me results. So value of I is nothing but 20, as we have seen. Value of f is 2.1. That's also correct. Now value of div is nothing but 20 divided by 2.1. That's 9.52, and a long number. But data type of div is nothing but it's automatically changed to float. Now remember, I was an integer, f was a float. Python has automatically defined data type of div is nothing but floats. So that's auto assignment of data type I wanted to highlight. Let's move to our next data type, and that's complex data type. And complex data type is imaginary number, as we know. So I'm just defining object C, and I'm saying that C is nothing but 1j. And when I do type of C, it's gonna give me complex number, right? It's an imaginary number, as you say in maths. Let's move to our important data type here, and that's nothing but range. When I say range, as you commonly understand, it's a range of numbers. So when I do something like range is equal to 6, it starts from 0, it goes all the way to 6, right? And I'm storing it in an object called R, and I'm saying that what is the value of R? So give me what's stored in R. What do I mean by range 6? Is it 0 to 6? It's 1 to 6? It's minus 6 to 6? Show me what's stored in R. And we're also going to check type in bracket R. So we are going to check what is the data type of R. Let's run this cell. That's going to give me results. Value of R is nothing but it's a range between 0 and 6, and the data type of R, it's nothing but range, right? So now why don't you try all this function at your end and do some practice, right? That's important. Let's see our next data type, which is nothing but Boolean. And when I say Boolean, it's very, very easy to understand. Boolean is there are only two values, whether it's 0 and 1. You can also define in terms of true and false. But I'll give you a little caution here. When you define in terms of true and false, your first letter has to be capital. Now, Python is a case-sensitive language. And when you use Python, you need to ensure that your case has to be proper. If your case are not proper, if you're incorrectly putting it, it's gonna give you error, right? So when you want to define Boolean value in terms of true and false, so you can do that, but your T has to be capital, rest all letter has to be small letters. So I'm defining an object called B1, and I'm saying B1 is equal to TRUE. As I put true here, its color is in green color. That's by default method or default input. That's why it's turned your color into green. And when I check the data type of B1 by doing type in bracket B1, it's gonna return me bool. Bool is nothing but a short form of Boolean. So my data type for B1 is a Boolean value, right? And let's define B1 as TRUE. Now this is not a Boolean value. This is neither a text value. Remember, we didn't put it in an inverted comma, right? It's gonna give me an error. And when I run this cell, it's gonna give me error saying that name true is not defined. So Python do not understand what do I mean by TRUE. So if you're not correct in your cases, it's gonna give you error just like this, right? I'm storing B2 is equal to false, again a Boolean value, and I'm going to check the type of B2. It's gonna give me the same Boolean value. I hope you understand this data type so far. Now, we are going to understand few more data types, which is very important because these data types are also very, very handy when it comes to usage of Python for any application, right? So we are going to see collection of variables, and in Python there are many collection of variables, but four main types of collection of variables, which is very important, which are going to use frequently. So they are list, tuple, set, and dictionary. And let's understand each of them and their differences in detail. So let's take our first collection of variable, that's list for you. And list is nothing but it's an ordered and indexed collection of values that are changeable and allows duplicate. Allow me to explain. So understood list as a kind of a file or kind of a folder. In folder, you have indexed pages, right? So you know on each page, like page number 1, what is there, page number 2, what is there, page number 3, what is there, right? And what it means that they are ordered. So your page number 1 will be at the top and page number 100 will be the last page, right? And it's ordered and it's also indexed, right? And it's also changeable. So I said it's a folder, it's not a book. So what it means that in case your page number 15, you want to change it, you just remove the page number 15 and you put new page number 15, and that allows you to change. It will also allow you to enter the duplicate value. What it means that whatever you return in page number 1, you might copy the same page and put it on page number 10 and your folder is still valid. So those kind of folder, it's called list. Let's define our simple list, and this is how you define list. You name it by any object and you are saying that simple list is equal to, and then you are putting within 2 square brackets. So this is how you define the list. You put 2 square brackets and within 2 square brackets you put your list. So here in the 2 square brackets, which I'm showing you in a green color, here you put different type of values. You can store any kind of value. It's not just that you store only one data type of variables there. You can put any values in there. So I put Brain, that's text data type, then I put 2, 3, 4, then I put Python, then I put 3.5, which is float. So I stored couple of details there within the square bracket, and that will define my list, and I name it as a simple list. Now, how do you use simple list, or how do you use list? Like you can use list to call out any number which you stored in that list. Since it's order, remember, as I said, it's a folder, so it's order. So you can call that what's written in page number 1, please tell me, and it will tell you that what's there in page number 1. Or you say that what's there in 6th page, it's gonna return you what's there in 6th page, right? Now, similar thing we are going to execute here. Here I'm saying that print simple list. So what's gonna do, it's gonna return you what's there in simple list, what all values are there in simple list. So it's simply gonna print the entire list for us. Now, when you want to return some value from the list, again you use a square bracket and you put index number. Now this index number is nothing but assume it to be a page number, the value you want to return at that particular place. And how do you calculate places in list? That in Python your index start from 0, it will never start from 1. Please remember this, I repeat it again, your index will start from 0. So in our list here, I have written Brain 2, 3, 4, Python 3.5, right? So I have stored total of 6 values in here. So my index will start from 0. So on 0th location, I have stored value Brain. On first location, I have stored value 2. On second location, I have stored value 3. On fourth location, I have stored value 4, and so on, right? So when I do simple list in square bracket 0, it's gonna pull up what's there on 0th location, right? So hopefully I should get Brain because that's the value I stored on 0th location. Now, when you do simple list in square bracket 3, that's gonna return me value at third location. That's 0, 1, 2, and 3. That's 4. So I'm going to get value 4 here. In the next print statement, I have written simple list -1. Now hang on. Till now we have seen just positive index number. Now what is this -1? Why -1? So -1 is simply nothing but the last value which you start from reverse order. That's why you call it as -1. So -1 in our case is the last index location. So last index location is nothing but in our case 3.5. It's gonna return me 3.5. When I do -2, that means I am just coming one position ahead. So it's gonna return me the second last location, that's Python in our case. So -2, this is going to return me Python. Now print what is the len of simple list. Now len is nothing but it's a length. It's a short form of length, and when I do len, it's gonna return me how many values are there in simple list. So len in bracket simple list, that means how many values are there in my simple list. It's gonna return me and print it. So len is nothing but it will calculate what is the number of values that's stored in your list, right? Now let's execute this command. As I said, it has printed simple list here, which is complete list here available. Now 0th location, brain, which is correct, and our third location here, which is nothing but 4, value 4, which is correct. Then I'm saying -1, which is our last value, 3.5. Then -2 is our second last value, Python. And then we are saying length. Length is nothing but number of values stored here. So we have stored here total 6 values. So which is 6, which is correct. Now let's go and try and change value, because as I said that list can be editable, it can be changed, right? So here I'm saying that when you change the list, you have to give an indexed location, that on which location you want to change the value. Here I'm saying that on the third location, take a simple list, take third location and change whatever value in there by 52, right? Now remember our simple list on third location, so 0, 1, 2 and 3. On third location we had value 4, so I don't want this 4. I'm saying Python that take a simple list, in square bracket take third index location, so 0, 1, 2 and 3. Take third index location and replace it with 52. And when I do simple list and third index location, like what's value stored in there, I should ideally get 52, right? And then I'm saying that this is one way of replacing the value. Now, if I don't want to replace the value, but there are certain values, I want to add more values in there, then simply I can use dot append method. So I say that simple list, and I'm saying that dot append. When I do dot append, that means I wanted to insert this value in my simple list, in my existing list. So when I do simple list dot append, in bracket I'm saying to the back. So to the back is a string which I wanted to append, and I'm saying that print simple list. So by default it will append this value to the last, to the last index location. So after whatever is our last value, in our case it was 3.5, so it will add this new text after 3.5, right? And then I'm again counting the length of simple list. Since I've added one more value, my length should change from 6 to 7 now, right? And also when you want to remove certain value, if you don't want to replace it, if you don't want to insert it, but simply you want to remove any particular value, you can just do by dot pop, right? So it's just pop out that particular value. So when I say simple underscore list dot pop, and within bracket I'm saying that remove the fourth value. It's gonna remove the fourth index location value out, and it will, I'm again taking a print statement and just seeing what's there in my final simple list. Let me execute this cell. So I can do control and enter. When I do that, my simple list third location, which is nothing but 52 entry, which is correct. Now again I have added this to the back. I have appended this value to my simple list, and I have taken print simple list. When I do that, my list look like Brain 2, 3, 52, Python 3.5 and to the back. So as you know, to the back is now added in the simple list after 3.5, right? And when I do what is the length of simple list now, it is 7. It is changed from 6 to 7. And in next, I've already popped out the value at fourth index location, which is nothing but when you counted 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I've popped out Python here by this pop command. So Python is removed. And when I take print of simple list again, it's gonna return me this simple list, which is my current status. So which is nothing but brain 2, 3, 52. I removed Python, so it became 3.5. and to the back. So we are again back to the 6 values, but different values, right? Now, you can also create list with repeat values. Say for example, I want to have list with just only number 5, and I wanted to have 5 number repeated 7 times. So simply I can do in square bracket 5 multiplied by 7. Now it's not going to return me 35, right? It's not just a plain 5. It's within square bracket. What it means that I'm going to repeat this list 7 times. So it's gonna give me number 5 7 times. When I do print and repeated lists, it's gonna give me list having number 5 repeated over 7 times, right? Let's see few more examples of simple list. You can also have list within a list. What I mean to say that in a simple list, you can create in the simple list, you can also add list within a list. And how do you do that? I'm saying that in my simple list, at first index location, put this list having 1, 2, 3, right? So now if I print my simple list, it's gonna give me list within a list, right? And let me execute and then I'll explain you what's going on. So when I do print simple list here, it's gonna return me brain, which is my 0th location. And in my first location, if you see, it was 2, right? Now I replaced it with 1, 2, 3. So it's gonna give me the list at the first index location. So it's not just a one number, but in fact, it's a list within a list, right? And then it's the balance part of the list, which we have seen in our simple list, right? Now, when we want to take out the value from such list within a list, you can do it like this. When you do simple list and you call first index location, which is nothing but 0 and 1, which is a list, which is going to return you 1, 2, 3 as a full list. And if you want to take out value within this list, so you have a big list and within that list, you have a smaller list. So you want to take out any particular value within the smaller list, you can call like 1. That's outer one is your bigger list, right? Now inner one is that list within the list. So inner one says that what's your index number. So which is nothing but 0 index here and then 1 index here. So it's gonna return me 2 here. If you do 1 and 2 here, what's gonna return me, since it's your first index location for the outer list, it's gonna pick 0 and 1. That's your first index location, that's your list, and within that list you are picking out the second index location. That's nothing but 0, 1 and 2. It's gonna return me 3 here instead of 2. Let me try and run this cell. It's gonna return me 3, as I said, right? So this is how you can extract value from the list. Now copying the list is little tricky here, right? Now for other programs, you do like list2 is equal to simple list, right? And when so you're saying that whatever there in simple list, you're copying it to the list2, right? So you're saying that list2 is nothing but it's a simple list. And you're saying that print what is there in list2. Also print what's there in simple list, simple underscore list. Now you're going to change value of list2. And you're saying that list2 at index location 1, change the value to 0. And you print the list2. Now remember, you have changed just the list2. You have not changed anything on simple list. So when you do print simple list, it ideally has to be the same as original list. But hang on, this was our list2. This was our simple list 1. Perfectly all right. We have copied both of them, so they are okay, right? Now we've changed the value of list2 at index location 1. So that was our this small list 1, 2 and 3. We have replaced that value with 0. So within list 2, which is we have first printed, it has changed to 0, but it has also changed simple list. It's no more the original list. It also changed the value in simple list. Now Python, because of memory optimization, it does this way, right? So if you do like this, if you copy like this list, it's gonna give you big time error, right? So how do you do the copy in Python? You write list3, say for example, and this is the list I wanted to have a copy of simple list. So I'll type simple list and I'll use dot copy method. When I do dot copy and bracket, that means I'm saying Python that list3 is a copy of simple list. So whatever changes I'm making to list3, please keep it to list3 only. Please don't implement those changes to simple list, right? When we do list3 print, it's gonna give me the same list which I have simple list, right? And now at list3 at 0th location, I'm changing, instead of Biren, I'm changing it to Gandhi, and that's my surname. And when you do print list3 and print simple list, let's see what happens. So this is our list3, right, which is the same as our simple list. Till now it's okay. Now we have changed the 0th location in list3 to Gandhi. So Biren has changed to Gandhi now, and rest all values are same, but our simple list has also not changed. It is still the original. So that's correct. So this is by using dot copy method, you can actually copy the list and you can also retain the original. Let's understand a new collection of variables, that's tuple. And tuple is interesting. It's an ordered collection of values. So it's ordered, right? But they are unchangeable and they also allow duplicate. We are defining this object called simple tuple, and how to define tuple is with this simple bracket. So when you parenthesis, you put this values, that's your simple tuple. That's how you define the tuple, right? And we are doing print simple tuple. And when you do simple tuple in square bracket 1, let's see, it's gonna give you the, again, 0th and 1st location, so which is 42. So it's gonna return you 42. This is your simple tuple, right? So the difference between list and tuple, in the tuple, you cannot change the entries. So in 0th location, right now it's 12. I take my simple tuple, right? And I'm saying on 0th location in square bracket, replace the value 12 with 5. So I'm saying equal to 5. It's gonna give me error. And the error says that tuple object does not support item assignment. So you cannot change the value in tuple, and that's the difference between tuple and list. You cannot directly change value within the tuple. So what you do, you take your tuple, you convert it into a list, change your value, and then again convert that list back to the tuple. So how we can do is, let's create a dummy variable. So I just put it a dummy as a name, and I'm saying list, and within bracket I'm giving simple tuple. So I'm saying Python that take my simple tuple and convert it to a list. This is how I do that. I say that list in bracket, just put the simple tuple. And so my dummy is nothing but it's kind of a list which will contain all the value which simple tuple have. However, dummy is a list now. And now I'm saying that at 0th location of dummy, change value to 5. And once it's changed, I'm again saying that simple tuple is nothing but it's a tuple, and convert dummy, which was the list, to tuple. And when I print simple tuple, it's gonna replace at 0th location value from 12 to 5, right? So this is just a workaround in case if you want to do this way, right? Let's look at the next type of ordered collection, that is set. Now set is important here. Set is nothing but unordered collection. So there is no order to it, and values are changeable. So you can change the values within the set, but it does not allow duplicate. So it's like a unique values which can be stored in set. So which can be called from a set. So when you put curly braces, this is how you define the set. So when I say simple set, which is nothing but curly braces, and I put all the values here, I put two different values here, two duplicate values here rather. I say it's -5 and -5 here, and then you have 13 air and 8 values here, right? And it's unordered, so there is no order to it. When I print simple sets, it's gonna return me in different order. So it's not a 0th index location, it's 1, 2, 3, and so on. It's unordered. And that's why when you print simple set, it's gonna give me values in simple set in this order. It's not the exactly same order which you see here. It's 8, -5, 13, and air, right? Now here, if you notice, we have 5 values where -5 is duplicated. So there are 2 values of -5 there. When you actually print simple set, it's gonna give me only the unique value. So that's the characteristics within the set. It does not allow duplicate, it's unordered, and the values can be changed. Let's try and change the value, but before that, let's try and call what's there at the first index location. So we know at first index location, because the set is unordered, it's gonna give me error, right? There is no index location. So when I run this, it's gonna give me error saying that set object is not subscriptable. So that means you cannot call index from the set. There is no order within the set, right? Now, I can say that, okay, I know there is a air in my simple set. So I'm saying that print air in simple set. So it's kind of a condition I'm checking. It's gonna return me whether it's there or not, and it's gonna say me true or false. So I'm saying air in simple set. I'm asking Python that air in the simple set, it's there or not. So Python gonna return me saying that yes, there is a air, right? So it's gonna return me true. So when I execute it, it's gonna return me true, right? Now, if I say water, now since I know that water as a string, it was not there in simple set, it's gonna return me false, right? Now, you can't change the values, but you can add and remove entries from a set. So you can't change values, right? But you can add and remove entries. And how do you do that? You can simply say that simple set and dot add. When you do dot add and you are saying 72, that means you are adding value 72 in simple set, right? And when you do simple set dot remove, and you say that air, I want to remove it, then you are printing a simple set. When you run the cell, you're saying that your value 72 has been added in your simple set. In the next iteration, we are removing air. So air is removed now. If you see, you have only unique values, which is 8, 72, 13, and 5 stored here. Okay, let's move to dictionary. Now, dictionary, again, it's a collection of values that are unordered, but it is indexed. So there is no order into it, but it's indexed, and it's indexed in a unique way. We are going to see in a second, and that also can be changeable. So difference between dictionary and simple set, that set is not indexed, but dictionary is indexed, right? So this is how you define simple dictionary. I'm saying that simple dictionary is my object, simple underscore dict. And again, you define dictionary the same way you define the set within the curly braces. And here, this will act as your index. So within inverted comma, brand is your index. So it's kind of a chapter name or kind of a name that you are giving instead of a number. So there is no index location like 0, 1, 2, 3, but instead of index location number, you are giving that index as a name. So you are saying brand is your index, and against that index, the value apple is stored here. And I'm just putting a colon here, and apple will act as your value, which is stored in the brand. And then you have product. Against product, you have stored value iPhone, and then you have model 14. So this is your simple dictionary. And then I'm printing simple dictionary here. And I'm saying that I bought and then I'm saying that from simple dictionary, and I'm calling index, right? Now remember, in list, we are calling it by index location. Since here there's no number, I'm calling it my index location is product, right? So I'm saying that simple dictionary, give me the value which is stored against the index location product. Then I'm saying that model is nothing but simple dictionary, pick the model, the value stored in index location model, and so on. When I execute this cell, it's gonna return me first my dictionary, what is stored here. So at index location brand, I stored Apple. At index location product, I've stored iPhone. At model, I've stored 14, right? And then I'm printing I bought an iPhone model 14 from Apple. Wow, lucky me. Okay, let's take the next part of it. As I said, the value can be changed. So now I'm saying that simple dictionary, I'm calling index location model, and I'm saying that change model from 14 to, I'm saying that change it to 14 Pro. And I'm again printing the same statement which I print previously. I just run the cell. When I run the cell, it's gonna give me I bought an iPhone model 14 Pro from Apple. So it's 14 has changed to 14 Pro now. I hope you understand this part. You can also change color. You can also add it. So right now there's no color to it. You can also add index. I added color here, and I am putting red. I'm executing again the same print statement by adding color also here. When I run this, it's gonna give me I bought an iPhone model 14 Pro from Apple, and I added red here, right? I added color. So I bought a red iPhone model 14 Pro from Apple, right? So that's dictionary for you. Let's see how do you access data from the list, and we are going to see these points in more detail in our next video, part 3, where we are going to talk about NumPy, your first library that you're going to deal with, and pandas, right? But NumPy is basically a numeric Python, and which is basically arrays. So NumPy arrays are very specific arrays which works the same way like you seeing your list, and this is how you access data. But NumPy arrays, you can access data in more than one way, right? But let's see how we can access the data from your existing list. So I'm defining my simple list again here. So I'm saying that this is my simple list. It's storing this certain numbers here, and you can access your simple list in multiple way. Now I'm saying simple list, I just don't want one value, but I want a series of values. So I'm saying that give me a value which is there from 2 to 5. Now 2 colon 5, that means from 2 to 5. Let's see what's there. 0, 1, 2, right? So I want from 2 to 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I should ideally be getting 2, 7, 3, and 66, right? Let's see what happens here. When I execute this cell, 2, 7, and 3, right? But I didn't get 66. The fifth location, I didn't get it. That's because when you call within simple list 2 to 5, so 2 to 5, that means 2 is included, but 5 is exclusive. So 5 is not included, it's excluded, right? So it's going to return me from index location 2 to value up till index location 4. So it's not going to return me 66. If I want 66, I can just type here, instead of 2 to 5, I'm saying 2 to 6. So now it's gonna give me 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's not gonna give me 1, 9, 2, 3. So when I run this cell, it's gonna return me 2, 7, 3, and 66. I hope this part is clear. You can also call like 2 and 3, 2 to 3. That's just the second index location to say, which is nothing but just 2. And you can also run from backwards. So you're saying -5 to -1. That's giving me last fifth location up till the last location, right? And that means the fourth location, because this is exclusive, right? Remember? So the -1 is exclusive. So it's not gonna pick the 11 part, right? Which is our last value. So -1 is exclusive here, right? So this is how you access data in your list. Let's understand the flow control part, and which is very, very important. When you do certain things in repetition, there are two important flow control type which is available in Python. One is the loops and other is the conditional statements, right? Let's see the loops first. So loop is nothing when you run something repeatedly, that's called loop. And loop is a very efficient way to tell computer to perform a particular thing repeatedly, right? And there are two main types of loop which Python uses. One is for loop and second is while loop. Now, right, let's take the for loop first. So for loops, there are few ways to go through for a for loop. Now, one common method to loop through a list, and that's most common method which people uses, but it also can be used with aggregated variable. But one rules remain the same, that whenever you use any loop or any conditional statement, you need to give a tab. And we're gonna see this particular part, but that rules remains the same for any looping or conditional statement, right? So before we go there, let's understand range. We have seen range part of it, right? So when you do 4 is to 11, and when you do range, so when you execute it, it's gonna give me the values between 4 and 11, right? So how do you run or how do you type for loop? I'm saying that for, and that's how you start your for loop. You're saying that for I. Now you don't know what is I, right? There's no I in here, but assume it's kind of a variable, any dummy name. So you're saying for I, that means any value. It's like value which you assume. You're saying for I in range 4 is to 11. So you are saying that for each number in range 4 to 11. So that means starting from 4 up till 10, you take each value one by one. So first value of I will be nothing, but it will be 4. So that's your syntax. You put colon here for I in range 4, 11, and when you enter it, it will automatically take you tabbed location. So this is your tabbed location. Now all within for loop, whatever is your tabbed part of it, it will be considered within that loop. If you are not tabbed it, that part will not be considered within the for loop, right? So when you do print I, that means it's gonna return me the value of I. So first it's take value 4 in first iteration, right? In next iteration, the value of I will become 5 and 6 and 7 and so on. So when we run this cell, it's gonna return me value from 4 to 10. Now let's see a couple of more example. And here I'm defining range as 2 to 10. So it takes my starting value as 2 go up till 10th. But again, I'm defining comma and I'm saying 3. So I'm saying that increment by specific amount. So let me show you. When you do something like this, range 2 to 10 and increment by 3, it's gonna take values between 2 and 10, but after every third increment. So if you see the value, it's gonna take 2, then it's 3 increments, so it's gonna take 5, then again 3 increments, gonna take 8. After that 3 increment is 11, but our list gets over at 9. So there are just 2, 5 and 8, 3 values should be there in the list. That's what we are doing here. We are saying that for I in the range of this 3 value, which is 2, 5 and 8, print I. When I run it, it's gonna return me 2, 5 and 8. Here I'm defining this variable 0. So I'm defining counter as 0. This is just to count how many times the loop has been repeated. So I'm saying counter is equal to 0. I'm defining this list, a random number list in this list, which is I'm saying that new list. And I'm saying that for I in new list. So for each number in my new list, and then I'm putting colon, and I'm saying that print value of I. And I'm also putting one more statement. I'm saying that take counter, and I'm defining formula. I'm saying that counter is equal to counter plus 1. That means whatever value of counter is there, add 1 to it because I have run that loop one time, and this will be my new value of counter, right? Now this both are tabbed statement. That means this both statements will be run within the loop. Now the next statement print, which is not tabbed, right? It is not tabbed, so it is outside the loop. So I'm just saying it that this line is not inside the loop. So once loop gets over, once it iterates for all the values in the new list, it will come out and it will print this statement. This line is not inside the loop. And in the next print statement, I'm saying that loop cycled how many times. So that's my counters, that how many times my loop has run, right? Let's execute this cell. And as I say that all my values in the list got printed up till 7834. And then once the loop is over, it is printed. This line is not inside the loop, right? And then it's printed. The loop has cycled how many times? The loop has cycled 10 times, right? Now, let's see few more interesting loops. So I'm saying here for I in the new list 1 to 4. So I'm saying now loop within a loop. So I'm not just running one loop, but I'm running 2 loop. And how do I run 2 loop? It's a loop within a loop. So I'm saying that for I in the new list 1 colon 4. So when I say 1 colon 4, it's gonna, let's just see, it's gonna return. So you remember our new list is like this. So when we do new list 1 is to 4, or rather 1 colon 4, it will take value from 1, 2 up till 3. So 0th location, first location, second location, third location. It's gonna return me 1, 2 and 3. Let's just type it. I'm saying that my new underscore list, and I'm saying 1 is to 4. This is going to return me 1, 2, 3, right? So I'm saying that for each value in this list 1 to 3, which is nothing but 1 to 4, like this new list within square bracket. So run for all 3 values, and I'm putting colon here and going to the next tab. Now in the next step, I'm again running a loop. I'm again saying that within this loop, again run a loop, and I'm saying that for j. Now this has to be a different variable because you are using I here, I'm using j here. I'm saying that for j in new list 4:7, right? So what is your 4:7? Let's see. New underscore list, and what is your 4 colon 7? When you execute it, it's 4, 5, 6, right? So it's 4, 5, 6, this values, right? That's your 4 to 6, 4, 5, and 6, right? So I'm saying that for once you start picking up this value, go to for j in the new list. So pick up each value in j and do I multiplied by j, right? And remember this tab, this print I into j is a part of this for loop, right? So it's tabbed one more time. And then when you tab print outside of j loop, that means this print statement is a part of I for loop, not the j for loop. It's not tabbed, right? So that's why I return outside of j loop to print it, right? And then this print statement is outside both loops. So I'm just return it outside both loops. So when we execute it, we are actually going to get how many values? In your I loop, we have total 3 values. And for j loop, we have total 3 values. So for each value in I, it's gonna repeat 3 times j loop. When we run this for loop, we're going to get 4, 5, 6 outside of j loop. It has came out of the j loop. Again, I has taken value, which is 2, and which is multiplied 4, 5, 6. So it's 8, 10, and 12. It is again outside of j loop. And again, it take value of I as a 3, and it has taken 3 and multiplied 3 with 4, with 5, and with 6. And that's 12, 15, and 18. Now it has come outside j loop, and it has also came outside of both loops. So we have get total of 9 values in here, right? It's 3 by 3. This is how we do loop in loop, and you can do multiple loops to do as complex task as you want to do. Now let's take the next loop, which is while loop. And here I'm saying defining my age as 20, and I'm saying that while my age is less than 35. So I'm saying that when this number is less than 35, print my age and print also message saying that you are still young if my age is less than 35. So it's not just if, but rather it's while. So I'm saying that while value of age remains less than 35, do this, right? But I also need to give counter, right? Otherwise it will go in infinite, right? Because the value of age is just 20. So I need to increase or decrease this age to get the result. Otherwise it will keep on printing the same thing. So I'm saying that for every iteration, increase my age by 1, right? As soon as it hit 35, and when it remains less than 35, it's gonna terminate, and it will print this hey oldie as a statement, right? Now 35 is not old, but that's okay. For example, we just taken. So when we run it, and at 20, 21, 22, 23, it goes up to 34. As soon as it hit 35, it terminated the while loop, right? And it just printed the last statement, hey oldie, right? This is how you run the while loop, right? So let's go and see conditional statement. So there are 3 conditional statements, namely if, else, and elif, right? So if is nothing but it's kind of a statement which checks the conditions, right? So when I say I is equal to 30, I'm storing value 30 in I, right? And I'm saying that if I is less than 10, I'm checking this, that if value of I is less than 10, I'm putting again a colon. That's a syntax for any flow control statement. So any loop or any conditional statement, you have to put this colon. So I'm putting colon, and next it's a tab print. So I'm saying that print I. So I'm saying that print value of I is less than 10, and print run this also. Else I'm saying that if value of I is not less than 10, print I is greater than or equal to 10. So I know that my value of I is equal to 30. So it's gonna return me 30 is greater than or equal to 10. So let me run this cell. It's gonna return me the same statement, right? It has checked this condition. Okay, let's see this statement. I'm saying that value of I is equal to 3, and I'm saying that if I is greater than 10, just print that I is greater than 10. Elif is nothing but it's like a else if. It's a short form of else if, and I'm just writing it elif. So I'm saying that elif, so that's else if my value of I is less than 3, then say that print I is less than 3. And else if, again elif, if I is greater than 4, print I. Or I'm saying last, else if none of these three conditions satisfied, else print I is between 3 and 10. That's what I wanted to do, right? So when I run the cell, I know that my value of I is equal to 3. So it's gonna hit the else statement, right? Because my I value of I 3 is not greater than 10. So it's gonna check this. I's value of I is less than 3. It's not less than 3, right? Is equal to 3. So it's gonna jump to the next statement. It's gonna check whether the I is greater than 4. No, I is not greater than 4. It's 3. So it's gonna return else. And what's there in else statement? It's gonna print value of I, which is 3. It's gonna return 3 is between 3 and 10, right? So that's how you run if and else if loop. Now come back to the break and continue. So now when I do for I in range 10, so I'm saying from 0 to 9, take each value sequentially for I and divide value of I by 2 and take remainder. If your remainder is 0, that means if it's even number, print value of I and continue, right? And as if I is greater than 7, so as soon as value of I hits 7, break it. That means terminate this loop, right? That's what. And if remainder is 0, continue with the loop. That's what I'm saying. So when I run this, I'm going to get 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Now here we understood all the flow control statement, and now the interesting part, we are going to write our first simple billing program for a retail store in your just second Python tutorial. So you yourself can write simple billing program, and you are going to do that today, right now. Let's see with the help of all learnings which we have done so far. So a customer at retail store will come at the billing counter and will say that I have purchased this particular item. Now for the simplicity, we are just taking 2 or 3 or at max 4 items in here. But here I wanted to take input from the customer, like what items did you purchase? And for that, there is a function or method in Python which is called input method. So when you do input and you can put message, you say that please enter a number, right? And when you do that, it's gonna run cell like this unless you put some value in there. So when I put 5 and hit enter, it's gonna return me 5. Now by default, when you enter whatever value here in input, irrespective of whether it's number or text, it's gonna consider as a string by default. So if I wanted this to be a number, I can do typecasting, which we have seen it. So I can do simply saying that integer and store this as an integer. So within integer bracket, just asking for an input. And when you do 5, it's gonna return me number, which is not a text, right? Now this is important because we are going to use this input method here. So I'm saying that X is my variable and I'm saying that input, and I'm saying that please enter your purchased product. So I'm saying customer to put what product you have purchased. So they will write that what is the product they have purchased. I'm also storing in Y. Within integer, I'm saying that please enter the quantity that you purchased, like how many quantities you have purchased. And I'm storing that as an integer here, right? For the simplicity. So that's my first 2 line. Next, I'm going to run a conditional statement. So I'm saying that if my value of X, if customer said that they have purchased Apple, and when you do double equal to, that means you are comparing. You are comparing. It's not assigning. When you do single equal to, that means you are assigning the value. When you do double equal to, that means you are checking. You are saying that the value of X entered, is it Apple? You are checking. If it's Apple, you know that unit price is 30. So you are defining unit price and you are storing unit price value as 30 only in case if the value entered, the product entered is Apple. So unit price of Apple is 30. And then you are saying total bill amount is nothing but unit price multiplied by Y. Now Y is nothing but the quantity purchased. So unit price, that's per unit price multiplied by number of units purchased. That's your total bill amount. And you are storing it here. And you are printing your line saying that your total bill amount is total bill amount for Y unit of X. Now Y unit, that means the quantity. For this quantity of X, X is nothing but your product, right? And that's your first if statement. Now this is only for Apple. Now remember, if customer has not purchased Apple, I am saying else if customer has not purchased Apple, then is the value of X is milk. So did you purchase milk? If it's milk, my unit price is 10. My total bill amount is unit price multiplied by Y. And again, I am printing my total bill amount. Now, if is not purchased milk, I am saying else if you have not purchased Apple, else if did you purchase milk? Else if you have not purchased milk or apple, did you purchase bread? Now, if you not purchase bread, if you purchase bread, my unit price is 15 and I did repeat the same line of code by just copy and pasting it. Now, I have 3 products in my store, apple, milk and bread, right? Which is there in my database. The unit price and details are there in my database. Now, I'm saying if customer has purchased some other product, say oil, else if it not purchased apple, not milk, not even bread. So I'm saying that print this statement that item is not available in my database. Please do the manual billing. So I'm instructing the cashier to do the manual billing. This item is not available in database. So this is your simple program, billing program for a retail store, right? So let me write simple billing program for a retail store, let's say, right? And once we execute this program, right, it's gonna first ask me, please enter your purchase product. So let's first try. I'm saying that I bought apple, right? So I have entered apple. It's gonna ask me, please enter the quantity. Now I say I purchased 10 apples. So I just put 10 here and I hit enter. When I do hit enter, it's gonna return me your total bill amount is 300 for 10 unit of apple. Wow, fantastic. So my unit price is 30. I purchased 10 apples. So that means my billing amount is 300, which is correct. Your total bill amount is 300 for 10 units of apple since I purchased the apple, right? Let's try some more thing here. So let me try and run it again. Now I'm saying that I'm gonna purchase bread. So I'm entered bread here. I hit enter. I'm saying I wanted to purchase 2 loaves of bread. So I entered 2, I hit enter. So it says that my total bill amount is 30 for 2 unit of bread. Again, it's correct. My unit price for bread is 15. I purchased 2 quantity. It's gonna return me the correct billing amount. Now, in case customer, let's run again. And let's say customer has purchased oil. Now, oil is not there in my database. Remember, we just put for apple, milk and bread. So let's just put oil here and press enter and say that please enter the quantity. I hit the quantity, say I purchased say 1 jar of oil, hit enter. It says that item not available in database, please do the manual billing. So cashier will do the manual billing. Fantastic. You did your first program for a retail customer. It's a working program. You can use it. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.